Live music, festivals, concerts, that homeless person busking on the street, singing his heart out, even though nobody asked him to. There's nothing quite like discovering a new band, and all of a sudden they become the soundtrack to your life. And then you discover they're coming to your town soon. You buy tickets, you go to the concert, you see them live, it's awesome. Or, likewise, maybe you've always been a fan of their music, but their new album is on a different level. You can't stop listening to it, and then you find out they're coming to your city soon. So you buy tickets, you go to the concert, it's awesome. Or maybe you've been a day one fan. You were their first SoundCloud stream. The amount of times you've seen this band is in the double digits. You got a tattoo of all their names and you're totally not weird for it. So, like clockwork, they come to your town, you buy tickets, you go to the concert, it's awesome. The point I'm trying to make with this weird intro is that the beauty of live music is a whole bunch of different people coming together for one night to share a room with the musician that made them feel something. But now, concerts are a cesspool full of annoying, obnoxious fans that shout things at the artist or throw things, or documentarians that for some reason need to record every single second of this performance with their stupid OtterBox Android phone. Look, the state of concerts is changing, and there's a lot of factors as to why. It's the pandemic, it's changing music culture, and it's TikTok. Now listen, there's a lot to uncover with this, so sit tight, grab yourself some water, because today we're talking about... Do you like that little intro? Yeah, I'm stepping it up. You see I'm on the couch now? Okay, let's start from the top. I want to say that things don't change overnight, especially something as complicated as the state of live music. Though for the sake of argument, I think it would be best if we try to pinpoint a certain time where things did start to change. And while it may seem incredibly easy to, I think it's fair to say that it all started with the pandemic. The pandemic changed everything, but it's almost hard to encapsulate how much it affected the music industry, especially the live music industry. Almost overnight and without any warning, this entire industry was forced to shut down. Venues had to close their doors. I think Post Malone did something with like the Nirvana guy or something. I don't know, it was a blur. Meanwhile, in the background, online, the entire music industry was changing. TikTok was blowing up artists from their bedroom, shifting the sound of what was hot and creating superstars from song snippets. Do you like a little alliteration? All the while seemingly breaking the entire model of how the music industry worked up until that point. It was a creative renaissance, it was a revolution, and it was pretty much all fueled, I would say, by apps like TikTok. Specifically TikTok. I'm just gonna say TikTok. These artists were growing massive online following, racking up millions and millions of streams, all without visiting a single city. People were getting Post Malone numbers from singing over type beats. It was crazy. Pink Panthers is a great example, okay? She didn't produce her stuff in the beginning, it's just a fact. She literally blew up from her college dorm room over COVID, all with her voice in a microphone. What I'm trying to say is that these artists were creating music in a whole different way, and seemingly speed running the entire pop star process. When live music eventually, and thankfully did come back, albeit with a lot of major restrictions, yeah, everything was different, including how they operated. Mask requirements, vaccine mandates. This was a slow and steady process to get where we are now, where things are relatively calm. But it was still a weird era for live music. But it was apparent that the culture had changed in these past few years, leading me to my first point. This is when all the musicians that blew up during the pandemic, that shot to the top of the Spotify charts, had to actually prove themselves in the real world. Sounds scary, right? It is. Now, I'm not gonna accuse anybody of inflating their streams or being an industry plant or using fake numbers. That stuff's corny, whether it's true or not. But what we saw were all of these artists that seemed like they were on the top of the world, popping out to dead or borderline non-existent crowds in real life. And it was becoming clear that all of this massive online success for these artists was incredibly hollow. And bringing that to the real world was an uphill battle. Obviously, these were quickly turned into memes. It's mean, the internet's cruel, but come on, some of these clips are just too funny to not make fun of. It's just obvious. Spotify streams do not equate to a real world crowd. Now, when I say artists that blew up from TikTok, I'm talking about innately smaller artists. You could say big artists like Doja Cat blew up from TikTok, and what the definition of a TikTok artist is changes depending on the person you ask. These people had huge machines behind them from the jump anyways. Like Doja Cat would have been fine. It was only a matter of time before she had a hit. I'm talking about like the Coil Rays of the world. The people that had a little catchy moment, they were thrown through the whole gauntlet of like the Genius Explained videos, and the success was not translating live. And a big part of this leads me to my next point. These performances straight up sucked. Like, I'm not trying to pick on anybody or be rude, but I have never seen so many people give so many weak performances to crowds that couldn't care less anyways. It was clear that they didn't have a lot of experience or training performing live, and they had to find their footing as an established artist, which is crazy. And because of the sound that was hot at the time, and the fact that a majority of these artists that were blowing up were just singer-rapper types, there really wasn't much for them to do on stage, leading to these horribly awkward performances. But what had started as some rappers having a backing track while they performed, maybe they have some ad-libs going on too, some pre-recorded vocals, had devolved into a sad excuse for a performance, where the entire performance revolves around playing the full studio-produced song in front of a crowd while the artist comes out and desperately tries to sing along, more often than not completely out of breath, before resorting to kind of just jumping and dancing around, or doing that super weak throwing it to the audience mic move, which we all know you're doing just because you need a second to catch your breath. Like, am I on your payroll? Why am I singing your lyrics for you? I'm an asshole. I just gotta accept it. I got a little coffee down here, by the way. Caffeine's crazy. But it was kind of the cherry on top to the paradoxical nature of these artists being both the biggest thing ever and completely unknown artists depending on who you ask. Like, the internet bubbles were real. Now, like I said, this isn't an overnight thing. People had been doing this at their concerts forever. Artie did this a lot, and like, I just think it's kind of a lame performance. There's not a lot that they can do, and like, I see it just being a DJ and a performer. A lot of it is just keeping the energy up, and sometimes that's fun. But I feel like people are using it as an excuse to deliver the bare minimum at live concerts. Like, did you pay money to just be in the same mile radius as them? I don't understand. And when you see artists that seem to be at the top of the industry physically unable to even perform live, yeah, I think we got an issue. The Yeet concert back in October is the perfect example of this. Mans couldn't even finish his set. He had to dip out after like 30 minutes. It got so bad that Cole Bennett had to come out and remind everybody it's his first time.
I was only there for 20 minutes, but you want to know why I respect it? Because it's a very rare show.
Now keep in mind, at this point, Yeet had been around in the music conversation for months. He was everywhere, and he literally couldn't even put on a show for this little venue. Like, I'm not trying to be too hard on anybody, but people paid to see you and you didn't deliver, and that's kind of shitty. Even if it was his first concert, it's clear that he wasn't really given any training. Performing is hard. It's like an Olympic sport. People that perform in arenas are different species. I don't know how they do that. They have to have so much energy, even performing in a smaller venue. The amount of energy it takes you, the amount of sweat that's produced. My heart goes out to all of these artists. They work incredibly hard. So I gotta call it out when it's obvious that they're really not trying. I would argue because they don't have to. These people exist online in like the metaverse more than they do in real life anyways. I'm just worried that we're gonna see the art of the performance kind of die out because these musicians are gonna realize that they don't really need to tour the country for the country to know who they are and to play their songs. It used to work backwards, right? It used to be that you had to sing with your guitar in 1,000 tiny dive bars for 10 years before anybody gave a shit about your music, let alone signed you or made you a household name. The art of touring and performing was the biggest bulk of the artist's job. They had to tour to remain relevant. Now anybody with a laptop, a decent microphone, an FL Studio can hijack these incredibly powerful social media channels and blow up without visiting a single city. It's crazy. I'm not here to bash the accessibility of music technology. I think it's super inspiring that kids with BandLab on their cell phones are making TikTok sounds that are more viral than studio produced songs, even though they all weirdly feel the need to like say it was their little bro and like act like they found it, even though it's obviously them singing. I'll never understand that. That's always gonna be weird to me. But what I'm worried about is the art of the performance dying to a lot of these big artists. And it's not like it's gone. It's definitely still around. Look at an artist like Harry Styles. That man performs. I don't know how he does it. I feel like he's always on a stadium tour or like acting in B-tier movies. Like, going to a Harry Styles concert is a core memory form. Going to a Yeet concert is kind of just like, are we grabbing food after this? Or I don't think all hope is lost for these artists. I mean, most of them have major label backing. So in that case, I want to give an example of one of my favorite artists, Dominic Fike. It's very clear that Dominic Fike was plucked out of relative obscurity by major labels early on in his career. There's a whole documentary about it where he was like in a bidding war while he was in prison based off of like one SoundCloud mixtape. It's awesome, you should check it out. But the point is, when he got signed by a major label, being a small and completely inexperienced artist, he started practicing his craft. He trained with a live band so that he could go on tour. You know what? he got really good at performing. He's literally one of my favorite performers out right now, and I feel like going to a Dominic Fike concert is more than getting your money's worth because he put the work in to do a good live performance. Now, I think a lot of these artists have an uphill battle. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt because they have to figure out how to build a fan base after quickly blowing up. That's probably super hard to figure out, especially because a lot of these kids are just so young anyways. But I believe they can do it, especially because touring is like one of the only ways to make money as an artist, and yeah, they're gonna find that out the hard way. But all this is just a section of what I'm trying to talk about, because these are artists that blew up on TikTok, small artists, but I haven't even begun to delve into TikTok's impact on already established artists. This is the one I feel like everybody wants me to talk about, right? TikTok fans, all these fake fans, they don't even know this song. They don't even know their birthday. I'm kidding, but look, judging by the response from my Steve Lacy video, I obviously struck a chord with a lot of people. A lot of people that I feel personally are valid. People who believe that TikTok created a legion of fake fans, or people who kind of only know the big hits or one or two songs in their discography, or in some cases, one or two lines of their discography. And I think there's a lot of merit to that. I think when one specific app can really blow up a song, it gets really confusing and easy to blame a lot of negativity on that. But I do think it's a little more complicated, especially when it seems like these fans are the ones that are buying up all the tickets and real fans can't even get into the concert. And judging by the reports we've gotten out of a lot of these concerts, it seems like you wouldn't even want to be there anyways. So while these powerful social media channels were able to blow up random musicians from their bedroom, they also blew up the relevance of a lot of large, mid-sized, or already established bands, dragging obscure cuts from like 10 years ago back into virality for seemingly no reason at all other than the fact that it fit a trend or like had like a one catchy bit in it. There's no rules here. It's the Wild West, and some bands have embraced it gracefully, others it seems to have actually had a negative impact. And as we've established, streaming numbers does not directly correlate to real-world fan support, or at least not really passionate real-world fan support. And this obviously bled over into the live music space, creating fans who might not be a fan of their entire discography, but only one or two songs. Now, this is a phenomenon that really isn't new. In fact, you can point to pretty much any band or artist, and they typically have a couple songs or maybe even just one song that's way bigger than the rest. And there's always been people that have gone to the concerts even though they only knew those big songs. But TikTok took this problem and made it worse exponentially. And in my opinion, it's completely undercut what the entire concert experience is, which is a magical moment you're sharing with fans of the music and the musician themselves in a live, real-time space. And listen, like all things, it's important to not get too carried away by headlines or how things seem online based on one or two weird videos. Like for every negative Steve Lacy video there's an equally as positive one showing the fans singing along to every word. And yeah, no, that stuff does not go viral like the negative stuff. Even the situation with the camera, which I'll get to later, can easily be dissected and kind of explained with multiple angles and realizing the full picture. The problem is, it's going a lot deeper than just not knowing the words at concerts. What I'm seeing is a change in the culture of how the audience treats and respects the performer, and it's pretty ugly. I know live shows and concerts have always been messy and rowdy. I'm not gonna act naive towards that. I know Woodstock 99 happened. Crowds kind of suck. But I've seen the cultural definition of what a live concert should be shifting and changing these past few years. And it's different than what I've seen before. To explain, I want to open with a quote by Mitski, who said in regard to her audience, "This underlying fact will always be true, as I am indeed providing a service in exchange for income. But it does feel sad to be told, directly by people I'm hoping to share my heart with, that to them, I'm a product they have bought for the night, and they will do with me what they want while they have me. It is sad to go on stage and now be conscious of the fact that, to some people in front of me, I am a dancing monkey, and I better start dancing quickly so they can get the content they're paying for." Oh man, that is gut-wrenching. Like, that hit here, bro. And it's horrible. Like, this is not how it should be. But this is how people are increasingly starting to treat performers, and it's being made so much worse in the social media age. Look at this clip of Clairo, for instance. After finishing a gut-wrenching song that she wrote about her own experiences being objectified, a fan immediately cuts off the song by yelling, "I get you're having fun at a concert, but can you at least also have some hacking brain cells. Like, connect point A to point B. That's not the thing to say. This is not the time to yell that. And I'm not gonna try to project or be like weird and parasocial. Look at the expression on Claro's face. It's clear this struck a pretty negative chord. And I'm not trying to be a music purist, but I think there should be moments at live shows where the mood gets a little somber or real or emotional that you don't yell stupid things like "you're so hot." Or that clip of Steve Lacy asking a fan to be quiet when they literally shout some dumb shit like, "Can you say hi to my mom?" right as he's starting a song. Like, if you're gonna yell, at least wait until everyone else is yelling. Don't throw off the artist in the middle of their set when they need intense focus. I think Steve Lacy responding like that is warranted. There's acting rowdy and having fun at a concert, and there's blatantly being rude and disrespectful to not only the performer, but everybody else in the room who's trying to see the concert. And I think I know why. And it's deeper than people just suck. I think our innate relationship with celebrity and famous people, especially musicians, is so weird and abstract right now. And it feels like whatever we do to them will either not be perceived or at the very least is punching up because they're a famous person and you're just on Twitter. And this is carrying over onto the stage. And I can see why. It's literally a situation where you're a faceless member of this big mob and they're on a stage with a spotlight. I can see how that gives you some weird permission to do whatever you want because you feel like maybe it doesn't matter anyways, or at the very least, you're just the crowd yelling to the stage. Now, I'm no sociologist, but seriously, think about it. What causes somebody to physically throw something at the performer? What causes them to yell? Do they feel like there's something they're being owed? Are they just really excited? What makes these people feel like they can do something to these performers on stage that they would never do outside of that crowd or to anybody else? A great example of this was the Kid Cudi performance, where he was subbing in for Kanye, who bailed at the last minute, so he had an uphill battle ahead of him. The crowd wanted Kanye, and they got Cudi. Innately, that's a tough situation, but he went out and tried to rock it anyways. Things got bad when people started literally throwing things at him, leading him to put his foot down and say, if somebody throws anything else at me, I'm gonna leave. Sure enough, somebody immediately threw something at him, and he left. What causes a person to do that? Like, would you throw something at anybody else? To tie it back to TikTok, I think it is social media and the entire way that celebrity culture and our relationship with music and these artists is being consumed. You only ever see them through a phone screen or on Spotify or on Twitter. The interaction is innately gamified. It's so weird that you can respond to Kylie Jenner. She's never gonna see it, but the fact that you can put something in her vicinity where if she literally just looked at it, it would be there. It gives you the power of saying something to somebody directly, but the relief in knowing that they'll never see it. It's what causes people to DM celebrities, even though they're literally contacting them directly, they know deep down it's never going to be seen by them. But I can see that carrying over into the live space. Again, Mitski is a perfect example of this. The aforementioned quote was from a situation where she simply and humbly asked her fans to not record the entire concert because it's annoying. My words, not hers. She was actually really sweet about it. Despite that, she got immense backlash from her fans. Now look, it's a free country. I'm not going to tell you what you can or can't do, but it really made me realize how people feel like these experiences are for them, almost to a selfish extent. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. There hasn't been a single concert or live performance I've been to where I haven't taken out my phone and recorded at least some of it. And this has ranged from just a little bit of the concert to pretty much the entire concert because I was a 15-year-old with Snapchat and I was really excited that I was at Weezer. I'm not against recording concerts. I think that's a big part of the experience. I look back on a lot of that footage and I smile. I'm glad I have it. But it's becoming an ugly problem because when you zoom out and flip the camera and instead of the audience excited for the music, you just see a sea of faceless cell phones, it kind of sucks. And I think it's a problem for a lot of artists because it makes it hard for them to feel like they're connecting with their audience and even more like they're just performing for people who don't really care about them anyways. I think a big confusing part of the culture right now is the fact that nothing really feels real unless you record it. And nothing matters as much as things that are recorded and put on social media for consumption. It's confusing, it makes it feel like your memories are worthless, and I think it's just because we have these incredibly powerful tools on us, but it's ruining the live concert space. I remember when I saw Tyler, the Creator, at Lollapalooza. Yes, that's a flex. You should think I'm cool because I am. And I was waiting in the crowd, and I had time to kill, and I took out my phone, and I tried to make a TikTok. The TikTok wasn't me at Lollapalooza. I think I was trying to make a joke with like a trending sound at the time, but it was basically me trying to be like, look, I'm at this concert in like a low-key way where like somebody would see and be like, oh man, they have such a cool life. The point was, it was corny. And when I look back on it, I kind of think I'm stupid. I was standing in a giant crowd filled with Tyler fans who all resonated with the same music that I had been resonating with. And instead of talking to them or trying to form connections, I was like working for free for TikTok, trying to make them yet another video. The video flopped. Yeah, no one really cared. But it was a valuable lesson. But my point is, if I can sit here with all of my opinions and complaints and admit that I've done that, it's true that it's happening on a much bigger scale. Like, it was cool to see all that Steve Lacy concert stuff, but at a certain point I was like, damn, I'm seeing a little too much of this Steve Lacy concert from every angle. Kind of like crazy how much y'all got this on video. It's clear a lot of these moments were being caught organically. I don't know, feels like some clout. There's nothing wrong with taking a little video for social media. I mean, everyone hates scrolling through those stories, but fuck it, it's your story. But the people that insist on recording every second of the concert, I mean, it's a different situation entirely. When Mitski called it out, she was met with backlash. Some people saying that they have to film it, and I don't want my sarcastic tone to undercut the fact that that could be valid. Like, maybe that's something you go through. I won't say it's not true, but you have to be a decent human being for a second and acknowledge that if you're sitting there with your bright ass phone recording the entire concert, sticking it up in the air for yourself, you're also ruining the experience for somebody else. You're in a situation where it is literally not all about you. It doesn't discredit what you're going through or what you need, but part of this is being courteous of others, or else, I'm sorry, I just think you're an asshole. And this is the root of the problem. This is the whole point that I'm trying to make. The way that we consume media has become so private, personal, and intimate. You scroll through TikTok while you're laying in bed. A lot of people watch their phones on the toilet, but it's the nature of the access we have. The computer in our pocket can load up videos of Steve Lacy or play a Steve Lacy song whenever we want, wherever we want. People listen to music while on a run, in the shower, when they're waking up in the morning. Everybody has their own little media bubble world that we're all living in, especially with things like AirPods. Everybody is in control of their media consumption. We're used to playing gods in this little media world, serving up whatever we want, whenever we want it, for us and only for us. I can't even scroll through TikTok with a friend because their feed's boring, and I've often found myself in a room of like 5 people where everybody's scrolling through TikTok at the same time. It's weird. And now that live concerts are back on a large scale and people are coming out of the chronic doom scrolling era of the pandemic where this problem got exacerbated and exponentially made worse, they're having to consume media with other people, and it's not pretty. It's no longer just them and the artist listening on AirPods that no one else can hear. It's them and the artist and 2,000 fucking people. Everybody wants to be the main character at the concert. Everybody wants to be able to record it for themselves but not deal with other people's phones. Everybody wants to yell at the artist to hear them even though other people are trying to hear the next song. Everybody wants Steve Lacy to take a photo with their disposable camera even though throwing it at him is a crazy stupid idea. These celebrities don't feel real to us, so when they are real and they're actually there, and when we're with other people, we don't know how to act. Now, obviously I say we, but the truth is, it's really just dumb people. But there's a lot of dumb people in the world. For the sake of this argument and to talk about this issue, I'm just gonna be general. If you're watching this and you're like, I would never do that, good, you're one of the good ones. Now, artists are starting to take measures against this. They're trying to get the respect back. I remember a few years ago when I found out that Jack White was not allowing phones at his concerts. It was the first time I heard anything like it. And I remember thinking, what an egomaniac. How expensive that must be. What an operation. Just to make sure that you don't have cell phones at your concert, you purist. But looking back, no, yeah, he was right. That was the right decision. I recently saw John Mulaney live. Another flex. Again, you should think my life is cool. And it was the first time I actually went to a no phone event. I had to put my phone in a little baggie. It locked. I couldn't have access. If I wanted access, I had to go find somebody and get access. It was weird. But once the show started and 10 minutes went by, I forgot about my phone and I got locked into the show. And you know what? I remember every second of that concert, and it was awesome. Now, you're gonna see this a lot more with stand-up comedy because they don't want their sets leaked and jokes to get clipped for the woke mob to take out of context. Can't believe I said that. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see it become a bigger trend in music, especially because it's clear that these shows are getting crazier and crazier. I think it's good that Kid Cudi walked off stage. These people shouldn't feel like products for the audience. This is a byproduct of them being products for social media. We've boiled down and sold these people as something to sell in Spotify streams or to get clicks online. And it's clearly the way things are heading in the digital space, despite how dystopian it is, but it doesn't correlate to the live music space at all. I'm not trying to be a music purist, okay? I'm all about having fun. I love a good mosh pit, but it's not crazy to say that the beauty of concerts is that they're an intimate and magical experience between the fans and the musician for one night. And people are taking the same energy that they have with scrolling through TikTok and applying them in the real world and just looking goofy and corny and lame. And I hope we'll see a change. Now, there's one last point I want to touch on really quickly, and it's the issue of buying tickets online right now. This is a deep and complicated issue, one that I'm not like super well versed on. There's a lot of great articles about it. John Oliver did an incredible piece outlining the whole situation. I implore you to go watch that if you don't know. But I couldn't make a video like this without at least touching on the fact that the art of buying tickets right now is so broken. And no, it's not fake fans buying them up. It's evil mega corporations that have monopolized the entire process, and soulless scalpers who try to sell the tickets for 10 times their worth to desperate fans, and it's starting to backfire. People are realizing that it makes no sense that Ticketmaster is adding on dumb fees that don't need to be there. This needs to be fixed. I don't know what the answer is, but it's ruining the entire concert experience for everybody, and it must be stopped. Alright, this was way longer than I thought it would be. I've said a lot already, so I think I'm going to end the video here. The most important point I want to make, the thing I want to leave you with as a viewer, is that nothing would be possible without the hardworking people of the live music industry. These heroes kept an industry afloat during a time where it seemed like it could fall apart forever. They powered throughout weird COVID guidelines, vaccine mandates, mask mandates, working hard to keep these venues open so that the live music industry could eventually come back and flourish like it is right now, so that we can have these incredible memories at concerts. It's not magic, it's hard work, and it's people who are dedicated, passionate, and honestly selfless enough to make it happen. So I want to give kudos and a big thank you to that entire industry for making this video possible. Quite honestly, it's really easy to get lost in negativity, but it's important to take everything you see online with a grain of salt, including this video. Even though I feel like I've covered things objectively, it's not all doom and gloom, and viral clips can really make it seem like things are a certain way, even though if you pull back from the camera, it's a lot more complicated than that. I think there's still incredible concerts happening. A lot of talented musicians are coming up, and a lot of crowds are just A1. That being said, I've just seen so much stuff that I don't like that I think is representative of a bigger issue, and I had to talk about it. So, if you're watching this and you need any other takeaways, go to concerts, have fun, make memories, and just don't suck, okay? Because we can see you now, and you will get clipped and put on TikTok, and everyone will hate you. Believe it or not, I think I said everything I wanted to say. As always though, I want to turn the conversation to you guys. What do you think about this? Have you been to live concerts recently? Has it been crazy? Has it been good? Has it been bad? Do you agree with what I've said? Do you not? Comment down below. Let's get a conversation going. As always, if you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more music content. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Peace.